Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Papito here, and in this video I'm going to talk about one best practice that you have to follow when you want to run a business in Italy, but also when you receive incomes in general from abroad or from miscellaneous type of incomes. Now I'm going to be more specific in this video, but before don't forget to subscribe to the channel, notification bell, a like button to be always updated whenever we release this kind of content for Italy. And if you want to relocate to Italy, if you want to move to Italy, if you want to understand tax-wise if the relocation makes sense for you, in the description below the video you will have our email contact info@esentaxa.com, or you can ask a consultancy of 20 minutes, 1 hour, plus a project, tax simulation project that allows you to understand in advance if the amount of money that you have to pay in taxes in Italy, it's enough for you, it's too much, it's too less. So we're going to check together if the relocation is too expensive or not, okay? And moreover, the tax simulation is extremely more important instrument because it really tells you exactly what is the net in your pocket and how much money you can keep to live in that specific country. From this case specifically, we are talking about Italy. Now, here I want to discuss about some best practices. It's not just when you run a business, as I said before, but also when you receive incomes from abroad. What kind of best practices I'm talking about? The classical one, but a lot of people unfortunately underestimate it, which is basically the practice of archiving or saving the enough amount of money aside in another bank account, or, well, money that you should not supposed to spend because you have to pay taxes with that kind of amount of money, okay? And if you don't archive the correct amount of money, then you're gonna have a lot of issues in the following year when you will have the tax file return. So this issue comes from the fact that Italy asks you to pay taxes not at the end of the following year, because maybe you start moving to Italy in 2024, and then in 2025 you file the tax file return and then you receive the bill to pay. Italy doesn't work like this. Italy works differently. So let's switch the mentality, switch the mindset, be open to switch the mindset from the country of your origin, okay? Here in Italy, you must pay taxes during the year, currently, whenever basically you receive your income, okay? And how do you do that? Through the pre-taxation or advanced taxation, which is in Italian known acconto, okay? So keep this word because it's extremely important. So the acconto is what you pre-tax, and you pre-tax based on simulations. So for example, for our case, with our accounting firm, for our client, we forecast how much taxes you're going to pay, and we use the acconto because we start with the principle that you're supposed to pay taxes since the moment you receive your income, okay? Now, the only catch here in the system is that the first year of activity, when you run a business, you open up a VAT position in Italy, you become a freelancer, the first year of activity, you don't have to pay any taxes. And here's the catch. So a lot of people think to earn as much as they want, and then they will basically wait the following year to pay their slice, the slice to the government. But then they realize that in the following year, you pay twice the amount of taxes. And a lot of people unfortunately fall in this catch, in this trap. So how to avoid this issue? Simply archiving the amount of money since the beginning. Even though the first year of activity you're not obliged to pay any taxes. That's how you solve the problem. So how it works practically? So what you have to do is that the first semester, the first 6 months, you pre-tax, without even pay to the state, but pre-tax yourself, you put aside in a different bank account the acconto number 1 for 2024. The second semester, you pre-tax a second amount, okay? Then we move in 2025, all right? 2025, you do exactly the same thing. You pre-tax what you think you're earning, okay? Because it's still based on the simulation. Of course, we do the simulation extremely precise, so don't worry, you're going to pay exactly the amount of money that we have forecast. And then in June 2025, 30th of June 2025, which is the deadline, what you're going to pay. You're going to pay the balance, what in Italian is known like saldo. Saldo is the balance, is what remains to pay. And the saldo is basically is the subtraction against what you have already pre-taxed the previous year and what you have to give if there is something to give to the state. But if you're one of those persons that didn't put aside, archive the money enough, what you have to pay in 2025, the saldo, which it's the 100% everything that you're supposed to pay in taxes in 2024, plus the account of 2025. And then you find yourself with double tax to pay, okay? So don't fall into this mistake. It's extremely important. So if you provide the acconto correctly in the first year of activity, then the amount of money that you have saved will match with the saldo. Then you have to just pay what you have saved, archived in another bank account. And then automatically, since you keep doing this, you acquire the habit of putting aside the money, the first semester will be paid along with the saldo, okay? And it normally is 40% of what you have paid the previous year. So basically, the trick is that in 2025, you really pay taxes to the state. In 2024, you have to just freeze your money in a different bank account, which normally suggests to do this, and don't touch them. That's it. This is how it works in Italy. Then the second semester, 2025, you keep paying for real. You don't have to archive virtually, but you pay a second acconto to the Italian state, okay? And then it goes like this. Then, of course, if there are differences in terms of earnings, like if your business is growing and then you pay more taxes, you increase the amount of acconto to pay. And then the same thing is if you earn less, you of course give a pre-taxation which is lower. And then it goes like this forever. You pay based on semester, okay? First semester, second semester, first semester, second semester. Now, you think, okay, it's clear, it's easy. Well, a lot of accountants in Italy forget to say these kind of things. And another important point, that this mechanism, acconto e saldo mechanism, it works for everything in Italy. Everything works like this. So be careful about this. And this is the real trick. It works for everything. It works for social security. It works for rental income. It works for employee income. It works for income from abroad. Okay? It works for, except for interests and dividends tax, which is a withholding tax, and then you pay only once without this system. But all the rest of the taxation follow, and social security payment follows this system, this semester system. Also the regional tax, basically everything. Now, why when you are an employee in Italy hired by an Italian employer, you don't have this issue? But, well, the reason is that the Italian employer has the right to pay you the acconto inside the payroll. That's the reason why. And then he's also able to do it since the beginning of the year, since the first year of activity when you are hired, okay, by this employer. And then at the end of the year, if you don't have any other type of incomes, your employer in Italy provides you the tax file return automatically, and you don't have to do anything. But if you have your employee income, then you have another type of income, then another, everything has to be combined. You have to recalculate your tax rate with the progression tax system, and then of course the differences will be paid in saldo. But unfortunately, if you didn't preview the differences during the semester, you pay twice these differences. The difference between what you have already paid through your payroll and what you're supposed to pay based on extra income at the top of your employee income. Okay? So the difference of income is extra taxed, and this extra tax will be in saldo. And when saldo is different from zero, it triggers the acconto system. So then the Italian states ask you to do this in advance the previous year and in the current year. Be careful about this point. And a lot of accountants in Italy, they are not acquainted with foreign income, also for employee income, especially when you are an employee, you're not running a business, you're not supposed to know these kind of things, but you receive income from abroad, so your employee stream of income is gross. And then if it's gross, there is nobody in Italy that is providing the withholding tax on a payroll. And then you find yourself also when an employee to have to follow the system, okay? Here in ESENtaxa we provide this kind of things also. We tell you exactly how much money has to be put aside, because don't forget, ever forget this best practice. put aside enough amount of money to pay your taxes, because in Italy you pay taxes from the moment you're receiving your money, and you have semestrally you pay this amount of money to the state. Okay, even though in the first year of activity is not possible, even though you're receiving income from abroad, which is not at the moment possible to pay an acconto in that case, because that's the real catch. You would like to pay to the state maybe the acconto to be sure to not have surprises at the end of the following year, but you cannot do it. So you have to do it manually in your bank account, or in another way, but you have to be sure that you are achieving enough amount of money to sustain, to pay the saldo eventually, which is the total of the previous year, plus the first acconto, and then in the end of the year, the second acconto. I hope I was clear. If you want more clarification on this system in Italy, this best practice to do, write us at info@esentaxa.com. And for anything else, if you would like to be updated whenever we release this kind of content, well, subscribe to the channel, notification bell, a like button to be always updated whenever we release this kind of videos, and help, let's say, that a lot of clients unfortunately had this issue, and we would like to inform you, our followers, about this best practices. Thank you, see you there next time, bye.